Namaste. A warm welcome to all of you. Good evening and good morning, those who are attending from US. Everyone, let's start the session. We are almost past 6 months. Our life had changed a lot. We are passing through the difficult phase of pandemic, and now our focus has completely changed due to pandemic. Our focus is now on our health. Health has become a priority because the pandemic has taught us that survival of the fittest, the rule. So the one who is fit will only be able to survive in such critical situations. Hence, we are here to guide you with some tips. With the essence of Ayurveda and Yoga, we will guide you to a healthy way of life towards complete state of health, physical and mental health. So let's start the topic directly. We will be having presentation. So our topic, Yoga and Ayurveda for immunity. Nowadays, lot of information is there regarding immunity. For the past 6 months, I can say there is information all over coming through all the resources. So let's have a quick look at the scientific aspect of the information. What is immunity? Immunity is the ability of the body to recognize, to neutralize, or to destroy the harmful foreign substances. Those are in our body, those attack the body. So it's like a defense mechanism of the system. See, if there is a critical situation, war-like situation, in that war now here the war is between the foreign bodies or the viruses, bacteria, and our body. What we will do is we will first boost our powers, boost our defense mechanism. Correct? Many times due to wrong information, we divert our attention to outside sources. But firstly, we should focus on our body systems, make it healthy, and other necessary precautions. They are equally important, but our prime objective must be to focus on our body to create a healthy body so that it will be able to fight many wars against such viruses. The corona right now is one, but in future many can come. So this is the right time for us to know the importance of immunity and see, our body is the greatest creation of God. So God has gifted us. There are inbuilt mechanisms which fight with the foreign particles, but with our bad habits or ourself not taking proper precautions, proper care of our body, we destroy the mechanism that is created by nature. So our perspective in this session will be what are the natural things which we can do, which are there. First of all, let's know what are the natural things, and then what things will help you to boost up the immunity. So immune system is a complete system in our body. Basically, it starts from skin. Skin is the greatest barrier between outside world and our inner body. It includes lymph nodes, white blood cells. Spleen is the important organ because it produces the white blood cells. Respiratory system is there. All this includes lymphatic system. Other than this, there is a network. You can see in this picture, complete network of lymph nodes and associated lymph ducts. The lymph, that is the important liquid, you can say, is circulating throughout the body for the defense mechanism. Now, this circulation of the lymph needs to be proper for the proper functioning of lymphatic system. Correct? This is the basic anatomy. Lot more is there. Now, immunity is of basically two types. Innate immunity is the one which is inborn, which we get by our genetic factors from our mother and father or from ancestors also. And acquired immunity is the one which we acquire after birth. Now, active acquired immunity is again of two types. Active immunity, that is the antibodies are created by our own body, and passive immunity is the one where we get ready-made antibodies. We don't need to create antibodies. Antibodies are the substances which are produced by our immune system. Those are our fighter soldiers. Those are produced by our immune system to fight back the organisms. They actually engulf the foreign organisms and destroy them. So active immunity is again of two types. Natural is exposure to infections, where we are exposed to low grade of infection, and then our body produces antibodies. And artificial immunity is where which we get by immunization. So there also we are attenuated, we are given the antibodies directly. Then the ready-made antibodies are by passive immunity. Natural passive immunity is from maternal immunity, from when we are in the womb of mother. Directly we get some antibodies, that is natural. And again in artificial, there are we get it by immunization, vaccination. Now we will come to the Ayurvedic perspective. Basically, Ayurveda is the ancient science, which most important thing of Ayurveda is it focuses on preventive aspect of any disease. So now again in this pandemic, we know the importance of prevention. Up till now, we were focusing, or traditionally we were compelled to focus on the curative aspect. If I get a disease, I will get the treatment. But now we know that I should be able to remain fit so that I should not fall ill, because every disease doesn't have medicine. That is the fact which we have learned from Corona. So Ayurveda uh, it has two important purposes. First one is swasthya rakshanam. That is to maintain a healthy state of body and mind for prolonged life, for the perfect health. And then if diseases come, if diseases arise in our body, then Ayurveda also treats them. So aturasya vikara prashamanam. It's not that if we take proper precaution, no chances are there that we will have diseases. It's not like that. We can have some diseases. There are various reasons, but if at all we are in that phase, then also Ayurveda gives us the cure for the diseases. Then according to Ayurveda, the perfect state of health is the balanced person who is having balance between Vata Pitta Kapha, that is the three dosha, whose digestive fire is very good, it is very balanced, it can digest the food very well, and it is also all the bodily activities like excretion, all movements, everything is in normal. And also it includes the state of mental health. Mental health is also very important. So Ayurveda has inculcated it in its definition that prasanna, atma, indriya and mana. If that is there, then only you are called physically fit, that is swastha. So Ayurveda focuses on this swasthya. Then what about description of immunity in Ayurveda? So Ayurveda describes immunity as vadhikshamatva. Vyadhikshamatva is the one which is responsible for fighting against the diseases. Now, Ayurveda has very typical discrimination. It is very minute. So it has described it as in two parts, Vyadhikshamatva. One is the one Vyadhi Bala Virodhitvam. If diseases arise, then to reduce the effect of diseases, there is Vyadhishamatva, and the other one is Vyadhi Utpada Pratibandhakatvam. That is, if there is, that is the one which prevents from producing the diseases. So that both are included in the concept of Vyadhikshamatva in Ayurveda. Now this all is included regarding the health, as there are our body is formed with multiple dhatus, rasa, rakta, mams, etc. So all dhatus, the strength of all dhatus will be benefited by some processes which we will soon get to know. All these processes will enhance the strength, the bala of our body, and then the diseases will be kept away. Now, another important concept is then who can capture diseases according to Ayurveda. The processes, the person who are having Ati Sthula Sharira, that is obese person. Ati Krusha Sharira, that is those people who are extra thin, those whose muscles and bones are weak. Then overall weak personalities, then those who are having unwholesome diet or very low diet. And important thing is mentally weak person are susceptible to diseases. They are not able to tolerate the impact of the diseases. Now, can you relate them with the comorbidities which now all of us know of corona? Yes, corona had shown us that obesity or weak immunity or unhealthy diet or even negative attitude towards the disease can lead to complications. Whereas if you are having a healthy body and healthy mind, you can successfully overcome the diseases. So this principle again is depicted in our ancient texts. So now this is the factor where yoga works. Yoga helps us to overcome all these obstacles. It helps to reduce obesity, it helps to increase muscle strength, it increases our digestifier so that the diet will be proper, it increases our mental strength also. So this is the point where yoga works. So Ayurveda and yoga both work in coordination for a complete state of health. First, we will have a look at the principles of Ayurveda, and then we will have some yoga asana or some yogic principle. Now, in this all discussion, we have learned some word about bal. Bal is that is strength. So, strength of our body, strength of our muscle. We know bal is strength of our muscles, but strength of our body is also included in bal. So, bal according to Ayurveda is the integrity of muscle that improves. It is related to your voice. It is related to your complexion. all normal functioning of the body is related to bulb. Now, this bulb is now this bulb is of three types. It is again related to immunity. The bulb which is Sahaj, that is inborn, which we have seen in innate immunity, that is Sahaj bulb. Then, according to Ayurveda, there is a Kalaj bulb that easily we can observe based on the seasons or age of the person. Our strength changes. In young children, in young age, we are having lots of strength, physical, mental. As the age increases, all the strengths start reducing. Similarly, in the morning, we feel fresh. By evening, our strength decreases. In seasonal variations also, in winter our strength is at maximum level. In summer, when we sweat a lot, we feel low of energy. This strength is also related to your immunity. When you are feeling weak, when your bulk is low, when you are feeling weak, you should restrict your activities. You should, it's not that everyday schedule is fixed and you should continue it. You should keep on doing the same things. According to seasonal variation, your diet should be changed. According to daily variation, your diet should change, your exercise should change. Though our activities, most of us can't change with working life, but other things which are in our hand, definitely we can change them to maintain our health. Then the last one, important one, is Yukti Krutabala, the acquired strength which is achieved by combination of diet and exercise. Here, diet and exercise, yoga, various asana, and any form of exercise, in fact, is very helpful for maintaining the or gaining the Yukti Kruta Bala. Then factors those are responsible for immunity are Dinacharya. Dinacharya includes the daily regime. This is again a very important contribution of Ayurveda to our life. Dinacharya, Rutucharya, and Rasayan all are specialties of Ayurveda. So let's have a quick look at them. What daily regime we must follow? What Ayurveda says is wake up in Brahma Muhurta. Now, everybody, please analyze yourself on these lines. Are we able to wake up in early morning stage? Like you should be able to wake up on your own with a peaceful sleep. You should be able to wake up. For that thing, your whole day schedule should be in perfect coordination. Then only you will get a peaceful sleep. Then only you will be able to sleep on time, and then only you will be able to get up early in the morning. Because getting up early in the morning has a lot of significance over our body. There are various hormones in our body, and the cycle of hormones, there is a rhythm in the cycle of hormones in our body. Though that rhythm is established by various hormones, and those hormones are activated once you start waking up early in the morning. Your body is fresh, your mind is fresh. So waking up early morning is the most important thing to start your schedule, to start your dinacharya. Once you start doing that, then evacuation. Now all our body must be cleaned. So feces and urine, stool and urine, you are able to pass early in the morning, then you are healthy. If you take some time, you can initially take help of warm water or some exercises, but early evacuation of bowels, that is stools, is must for health throughout the day. Then cleaning of the tooth. Cleaning of the teeth is another important aspect. Uh, we were bombarded with the information. We used to have some sweet test for cleaning of the teeth. But what Ayurveda says is we must clean our teeth with some bitter or some kashayaras like khair and all, not sweet but other ras which are to be included for cleaning of the teeth, because our mouth is full of mucus secretions of the night. So to clean that, sweet test, what it does is it creates a coat inside the mouth, whereas cleaning with other like a bitter test or some sour test will help you to clean up the mucus, and that will help you for proper digestion throughout the day. Then Nasya is also important. Nasya is the nasal therapy, that is adding drops of oil into the nose, because that is helpful for the health of respiratory system, health of our brain. Simply adding some medicated oil like Anutailam, or we can use ghee also. Now in this corona, there is a lot of information about Nasya, how it helps to cure diseases, to prevent diseases. Then Gandush, that is gargling with oil, uh, is also important concept. It basically strengthens the digestive system, or it even improves the glow on the face. Then comes the important aspect, Abhyanga and Udvartan. Abhyanga is oil massage, massage to the body. Actually, in Ayurveda daily regime, massage to whole body is advised with oil, because oil mitigates Vata dosha. It removes Vata dosha. It improves the strength of the body. Now here it improves the quality of your sleep. It improves your hair structure. It improves the skin tone. And basically it helps for the prevention of pains, tiredness, debility, all those things related to the immune system. And ultimately it is helpful for longevity, because it provides nourishment throughout the body. Once we massage the oil to the skin, though it is applied to the skin, circulation throughout the body increases. What we need to do is to improve the circulation throughout the body and balance doshas. So Abhyanga is very important aspect of daily regime. Now, with practical aspect, we are not able to do Abhyanga early morning. If we are not able to do it early morning, you can at least do foot massage, that is Padabhyanga, by bedtime. While going to bed, you can do at least foot massage once a day, once a week, full body massage with medicated oil, or simply if you are not having any diseases, you can use till oil, sesame oil for massage. Medical oil, medicated oils are always better for better relief. And if you are having some aches or pains or some joint problems or muscle problems, then you should massage that, particularly if a particular joint like knee joint or ankle joint is hurt, or it is in trouble, it is paining you, then you can use medicated oil to massage that particular part. If you are healthy, then at least try doing Padabhyanga daily, and once a week full body massage. You can do it by yourself or from a proper therapist, then you will see the benefits. Padabhyanga helps to calm the mind. It relaxes and revitalizes the nervous system. Many qualities, basically it helps to improve the sleep. So we can do it at bedtime, removes all the fatigue. It also helps for prevention of diseases like sciatica. Any disease of legs are can be cured by Padabhyanga. So Padabhyanga should be included in our daily routine. Then comes important aspect of our daily regime, that is ahar, diet. So ahar, Ayurveda has stated three pillars of life. First is ahar. So the diet which we consume should include all the six tastes. That is sweet, sour, salty, hot, bitter, and astringent. All these tests must be included in our daily diet. Each test has its importance. Like I said in Danta Dhawan, in cleaning of teeth, astringent test is very important for cleaning the systems. Similarly, for improving the digestion, some bitterness is important. But according to Prakriti, you can have the proportion of these rasas that can vary. Then the considering diet, we must consider about the quality of food. Some foods are heavy to digest and some foods are light to digest. So considering the quality, like if we have cheese or paneer, a small piece will you will be able to digest. It will take a longer duration. Whereas if we take some puffs like jowar puffs or even rice puffs, all puffs we can digest quickly, same quantity. So that way, paneer is heavy to digest, cheese is heavy to digest, or puffs are light to digest. The normal dietary things like wheat or rice or everything, or what we have in vegetables, we have, they are medium. They're not too heavy, not too light. Even non-veg food is heavy to digest. Likewise, you can categorize the food and adjust your diet accordingly. Important thing is you should fill your stomach half with solid food particles, food items, then one fourth will with liquids, and one fourth of your stomach must be kept empty for proper churning, proper digestion. Usually, when like in festivities or many times, if our favorite food is there, we eat full stomach, overfull it. Then the digestive process becomes slow because there is no space for churning of the food. Churning is important, then the digestion will be proper. The digestive fire is there, so consider it as a fire. So you can't overstress the fire. If a fire is there, you can't burden with too much of fuel, or you can't give less fuel. It has to be maintained with proper fuel to maintain the integrity of the fire. So the food should be taken in this proportion. One fourth part of your stomach, capacity of stomach, should be empty. Like you should feel that I have some part empty. Have not completely full. That much quantity is sufficient for healthy living. Then the ideal diet should be the one that increases the strength of the body. It should be taken warm. The diet should be hot, freshly cooked. It should not be dry. There are actually diet according to Ayurveda. We can describe or about 1 hour, 2 hour session will be completely on diet. But here are some key points just for the introduction, that the diet should be warm, light to digest, according to your capacity. Know your body and have your diet. The quantity, as I mentioned earlier, that should be followed. And there are some incompatible food articles according to Ayurveda that should not be eaten, like having dahi, curd at bedtime is not advocated. in Ayurveda because it has opposite action on our body. Like similarly, fruits and milk together is viruddha ahar, incompatible diet according to Ayurveda. So such food articles should be avoided for healthy state of body. uh, for balancing the diet, at least what we can follow is, if it's not that we should not have any changes or any we should have healthy diet only, because my mental aspect of diet is also important. So your mind should also be fresh. So eat according to your mind. The food which helps to refresh your mind should be taken. That also Ayurveda considers. So have your favorite food, but adjust it. Like if you want to have non-veg, you can take in the morning hours, in the lunch time, and then you can have your dinner according to your appetite at that time, on that day particular. If you are having low appetite on that particular day, or any sweet items like khoya items or paneer items, you can have them in the morning, and if we get a feel of if that is properly digested or not. If not, have very light diet on that day. For dinner you can have soups or fruits or some light diet, so that the digestion will come to balance within that day only. It won't be continued to ajirna avastha. Okay. Then vihar. Vihar is other activities in our day-to-day regime. So that vihar is also important aspect. Bhagavad Gita has mentioned this shlok, that the person who is having regulated diet and regulated activities, all activities must be regulated, and including sleep, then there will be a complete dispel of all unhappiness. Yoga will help to dispel all the unhappiness from that person's life. So Vihar here includes all the body activities, like in moderation. If you are exercising, do it in moderation. Your work should be in moderation. It also includes your entertainment. So entertainment should also be in moderation. Nowadays everyone has his or her own instrument, and whenever we are free, immediately our hands or our eyes go to our mobile or tab or something, and for entertainment. But that is really harmful for us, that is really harmful for our immunity. So everything in moderation. It's not saying that avoid it completely. Moderation is the key for a healthier life. Now, another factor, that is Nidra. Nidra is again one of the pillars, that is second pillar of health according to Ayurveda. What Nidra is, it's told in the shlok, in the text, in two controversial things. If you have proper sleep, you will feel sukha, that is wellness. If you don't have proper sleep, you will feel dukkha, or that is illness. It will nourish your body if in proper proportion. It will give you strength. It will increase your knowledge. It will increase your longevity. And if not taken in proper proportion on proper time, it will cause degeneration of the body. It can lead up to death. So that is the importance of nidra in our life. Important aspect, very important aspect, usually which we neglect. 6 to 8 hours of sleep in proper timing. Another thing, that is in proper timing. If you sleep from 2 a.m., that is to midnight, to 10 a.m., and you are saying that I am having 8 hours sleep, then that is wrong. So remember, the first principle we have learned is Brahme Muhurte Uttishte. So to wake up early in the morning, to sleep according to that time, so that your sleep will be completed by early morning hours. So You should be able to sleep by actually our body is made up for sleeping at around sunset, because when our body was made there was no electricity. With these advances in science, some effects, bad effects we have on our health are the disadvantages of modernization, but we should be able to balance them with our lifestyle. So around 10:30 we should be able to go to bed, so that your sleep hours will be completed by 4:35, maximum 5:30. You should get up and start your daily routine. So sleep, very important aspect, don't neglect it. Many people think that I am exercising, I am focusing on diet, still I am not feeling that, I am not getting that wellness kind of feeling. Then check on your sleep pattern, check on your vihar, that is daily regime, that is if your other activities are also balanced, then only you will be able to gain state of health. So every time check it out what you are doing, and all those aspect, like from the beginning we are talking, or each and every aspect has importance. So consider each aspect and then follow your routine. Then Rutucharya is a concept of Ayurveda. Uh, in India, we have 6 Rutus. Three are of Uttarayan and three are of Dakshinayan. Weather changes affect our body. So we must adjust our diet or our regime, and as well as our exercises according to the rutus which are there in the atmosphere. Like in winter, we can exercise a lot. We can have healthy food or heavy to digest, like rich of fat food. Like we celebrate Sankranti with till and all oily foods, so that till and good, which increase our energies. That way in winter food should be according to that. In summer our appetite is low, so we should have fruits, we should have liquids more, like sharbats and all. Then in we must take care of the change in season phase. Every 2 months there is a seasonal change phase, that is called Rutu Sandhikal in Ayurveda. That phase comes to everyone. If you pay attention to your body, you will notice that for 15 days, around 1 or 2 weeks, when season change is there, our appetite changes. We don't feel like having food, or we are having low appetite, we are having low energy. Suddenly some symptoms like increase in body heat or some weakness or more sleepiness come suddenly, but that is the adjustment of the body with the nature. So for those particular 15 days, you must be careful about your diet and your other routines. Avoid heavy foods in those particular days, and adjust your diet according to the season, for the next season, and then you will be in perfect state of health. Usually these infectious diseases like flu, influenza, they come in these season change periods, like the beginning of uh, uh, rainy season. There is sudden outbreak of flus, general flus, viral infections, there is outbreak, that is due to this low of immunity during season change. So observe that period. So again, be mindful, focus on your body. Slowly you will start noticing these changes, and you will be able to adjust your health according to the cycle of nature. Okay. In Rutucharya is a very big description. What I have briefed is what you can focus on. Then Rasayan is the most important factor of nutrition, or what you can call nutraceuticals of Ayurveda. So Rasayan is the one which strengthens all the body tissues. These might be some dietary supplements, or might be some medicines, some herbal medicines of Ayurveda, but they benefit for our body. They improve our immunity, they increase our longevity, as well as they improve mental faculties also. So, Rasayan is another important topic with which we should focus according to Prakruti. Like Vata Prakruti people should focus on the Rasayan aspect. They should have generally more of oil in. They can have oil as Rasayan. These Rasayan should be taken early in the morning, empty stomach. But you should take guidance from Ayurvedic doctor and then start Rasayan as which is suitable for your Prakruti. If you know your Prakruti, you can start, like if you have Pitta Prakruti, then you can start Amla. Now this is the season of Amla. You can have Amla, or you can have preparation of Amla in your diet, or you can have it early morning, so that it keeps a balance of your body throughout the day. That is the benefit of Rasayan. Like we have multivitamins in allopathy, similarly Rasayan is the helpful thing for building our body cells. Kapha Prakriti people should have medicines like Pippali or Gugulu, or they can have honey for Rasayan thing. But again, this all should be taken under proper guidance. Even mental Rasayans are there which help for calming the mind, like Brahmi, Shankhapushpi, Ashwagandha. These can be taken. Now immunomodulators. Now Giloy or Guivel, what we call in Marathi, it's very famous nowadays. It is again a part of Rasayan. These are immunomodulators. They directly increase your immunity. So they are called immunomodulators. So you can have them in your diet. Then coming to yoga for immunity. So we have covered almost very important aspects of Ayurveda. Now coming to yoga for immunity, Patanjali has described 8 limbs of yoga. Those 8 limbs are also important to build our body immunity. First limb is Yam. Yama is the moral code of conduct. Now in this era, we know it includes Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, etc. So non-harming any person. So these are the code of conduct which are to be included in the society, so that the society will be healthier. Then Niyam are the self-purification processes. So they are the cleaning processes for the body as well as mind. Like Shaucha is one of the Niyam. To cleanliness, now we all know the importance of cleanliness. So cleanliness is told as the Niyam. It should be strictly followed by everyone. Likewise, Niyam are also for our own self. Then comes Asan. Asan is very important for improving immunity, because it is the integration of mind and body through physical activity or posture. So it is beneficial for both mind and body. How it helps, we will see in details. Then pranayam is the regulation of breathing. Again, it throws away the toxins. Those are generated in our mind and our body. Every day doing pranayam cleanses our body. So pranayam is very important for immunity. Then pratyahar is control over the sense organs. Now in this pandemic also, for many days hotels were closed, so we learned to have a control over our tongue or our digestion, like our senses for tasty food or outside food. Similarly, controlling all senses helps to gain the immunity, to make your mind stronger, and ultimately strong mind resides in a healthy body. So both body and mind are benefited. Then dharana, dhyan, samadhi are the aspects of mental health. Basically, they help to calm your mind. Now in this pandemic situation also, mind is very important aspect. Mental health is important as well as physical health. Both are important. Mental health, importance of mental health, almost all of us have come to know by some or other circumstances in our surroundings. Like we are seeing so many sufferings, so many problems in life. So mental health is very important. So yoga here covers physical health as well as mental health. So yoga needs to be practiced daily for being healthy. Then asana is important. Why it is important is, in asana position you have physical effects like your blood circulation, internal organ circulation increases. So physical benefits are there. And to be stable in a difficult pose itself gives you a mental strongness. So it has psychological as well as emotional benefits, and further it leads to spiritual benefits as well. So per asana are very important. Then pranayam, as we said, pranayam removes away the toxins. Daily cleaning of the debris that is accumulated in the body is needed for being healthy and happy. The toxins which are generated in the body are to be thrown out, and those emotional toxins, those are also to be thrown out. That both of this is accomplished by practicing pranayam. Pranayam gives steady state of mind, it gives strong will power, it extends our life, it gives us longevity, it enhances perception. These are the important benefits. Other benefits like it increases glows the skin and increases immunity. These benefits are there now, all of us know them. So these are further advanced benefits of pranayam. So pranayam must be practiced daily. Then meditation, again it helps to manage the stress level is with everyone. Everyone is having different kind of stress these days. To to overcome that stress, to deal with the stressful situation, meditation is very important as it calms the mind, it removes negative emotions, it increases your creativity. You learn to focus on the positive aspects of life rather than concentrating on the negative aspects. So meditation is must. Meditation you learn slowly. It's not that suddenly you sit for meditation and you will feel relaxed. Continuity must be there. You need to practice it daily, then only you will see the benefits of meditation. But again, this is very important practice for immunity. Now we will see some of the asana which are important for building up the immunity. Very basic asana I have included here in this program because you will be able to practice on your own. There are many. Actually, every pose, every asana should be included, or any warm up exercise, starting from warm up exercises to higher balancing asana. Every practice is beneficial for immunity, for maintaining health. But some basic asana which are easy to do, I am including them. Actually, you should start with warm-ups, that is loosening of all joints, what is called Sukshma Vyayam. Many of you must have gone through the videos of Sukshma Vyayam, the importance of Sukshma Vyayam. It is on WhatsApp groups and everywhere you can see them. So with the constraint of time, I am not giving you demonstration of Sukshma Vyayam. We will see how to do the asana and how you will be benefited from them. Aditi will demonstrate you the asana. Just let me change the settings. Yes. So Sukshma Vyayam is warm up of all exercise, all body, starting from fingers, wrist, elbows, neck, shoulders, twisting, lower body, legs going up to your fingers. So all body parts moving. Now know here the importance of Sukshma Ayam and all asana. We have seen the diagram of lymphatic system. So it is just like similar kind of system, just like circulatory system. But in our circulatory system, we have pump, whereas in our lymphatic system, we don't have pump. So for the free movement of lymphatic fluid, our body needs to move more. So these asana and all the dynamic exercises also are needed for the movement of lymph, that is the immunity factor, that is the immunity main component of immune system that needs to be flowing freely in the body. So these postures help you to do that. So first we will see Pada Hastasana. For Pada Hastasana, you have to raise your hands up, stretch your body upwards, then exhale and bend forward. Try to touch your hands to your legs. Now here care must be taken that while bending you bend from lower back. Again observe it once again. Inhale, come up, exhale, inhale and exhale and bend down. Here in this Padahastasana, you get a good stretch over your spleen, which is the main gland for immune system. So that gland gets activated by this forward stretch. As your stomach is under pressure, your abdominal organs are under pressure. So this is important. Now this can be done dynamically also. Observe here like this. If you are young enough, you are fit enough, you don't have vertigo or anything, this can be done dynamically like this. Raising your hand up as you inhale, exhale as you bend down. Slightly fast movements. Inhale as you come up. Exhale as you go down. Inhale, come up. Exhale, down. So this is dynamic Padahastasana. This will increase the flow of lymph and blood throughout the body and will help to strengthen all body muscles and your immune system. Then comes the sitting asana. Mandukasana is there. Manduk is frog. So sitting in Vajrasana position, even Vajrasana is very helpful for immunity. It helps for digestion. Now, Mandukasana, you have to take your hands in front, keep them on your lower abdomen, near your navel. Exhale and bend from your lower back. Bend forward like this and hold the position for 5 counts, 10 counts. You can go up to 30 counts. Usually each asana you should repeat for 2 to 3 times. Every time you practice, now come up and again you have to do it. So this is Mandukasana. Again, it creates pressure in the abdomen. It relieves the gases. So it is helpful for immunity. Inguinal glands are there. In the thigh region, there are glands, inguinal glands. Those are very important lymph nodes of our body. Those are stimulated by this asana. Then comes Paschimottanasana. Like in Padahastasana, we had the forward stretch. Similarly, in Paschimottanasana, we will be having forward stretch in sitting position. You have to raise the hands up, exhale and bend forward. Try to catch your fingers of legs. If you are not able to go up to the fingers, just hold wherever you can, hold your legs below your knees. Pull yourself from your lower back like this. Pull yourself from lower back. Try to take your chin to the knees. Again, same reason. This will create abdominal pressure and it will help to improve your immunity. Then the last one is Pavanamuktasana, lying down asana. It should be practiced by everyone daily in the morning hours. It helps for evacuation of the bowels. So you have to raise one leg up, hold it, take it on the stomach, press it on the stomach, and try to touch your chin to the knee. Similarly, to the other leg, this is Ardha Pavan Muktasana, left leg up, take it on the stomach, press it hard, and chin to the knee. And then for complete Pavan Muktasana, both legs up, hold them in knees, hug them tightly, and take them closer to your body. Again, this helps to relieve the wind, extra wind, Vata dosh from your body and improves the digestive fire. Digestive fire is important component for maintaining immunity. So Pavan Muktasana helps for immunity. Then we will have a look at some pranayam to be done for immunity. First is Bhasrika Pranayam. Bhasrika Pranayam is forceful inhalation and forceful exhalation. For Bhasrika Pranayam, you just need to inhale and exhale forcefully, lifting your shoulders. You can do it so that lung capacity increases. Just observe. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Observe the force she is applying. You have to do this kind of forceful inhalation and forceful exhalation as if you are cleaning the system. You are cleaning your lungs as well as you are throwing out the unwanted emotions. So this is Bhasrika. Then comes Kapalbhati. Kapalbhati is just exhalation. You have to keep exhaling from your stomach. Inhalation will be passive. Kapalbhati is a cleaning process. It cleans our body. So those who are fat or those who are obese, they should practice it daily. But those people who are weak or those who are having acidity problem, they should do it under proper guidance of yoga therapist. Kapalbhati, observe just exhalation like this. The rate of exhalation should be 1 stroke per minute. You can start practicing from 30 strokes. You can go up to 60 strokes. Don't, if you are not practicing it for years, don't try hard to go for more number. First focus that each stroke is well, then focus on the number. Okay, do it according to your capacity. Again, the principle of ahimsa should be followed while doing yoga, because you should not harm your body. So no stretch should be excessive. No stretch should be in enthusiasm. Sometimes it happens that people try to overstretch them. That must be avoided. That care must be taken while practicing yoga on yourself. If you are doing it under proper guidance, these things can be monitored by your yoga teacher. But if you are doing it on your own, always remember, don't overstretch yourself. Like today, after listening to the discussion, start doing yoga and holding Pavan Muktasana or doing Kapalbhati directly 200 rounds, then that is wrong. Slowly increase your capacity. Okay. Then comes Anulom Vilom Pranayam, that is balancing pranayam. So we have to close right nostril first. Start inhaling from left nostril for 5 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale from other nostril. That is from right nostril. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale from same nostril. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale from other nostril. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale from same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale from opposite. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have completed your 2 rounds of Anulom Vilom. This way you can start practicing. Anulom Vilom is the balancing pranayama. It balances your right side and left side of the body, that is heat and cold of the body, as well as brain, that is emotional and physical activities of the body. So Anulom Vilom is very important for immunity. And then comes Brahmari Pranayam, which is helpful for our mental health, for being gaining the stability of mind. Brahmari is the humming bee sound. You have to close your ears with thumb, 2 fingers on eyes, one up, one down. Inhale. As you exhale, try to produce humming bee sound. You can practice it 3 times minimum so that you feel the vibrations in your head. The vibration should not be loud and not too loud, not too like low in intensity. Moderate intensity vibrations should be practiced. So this is about yoga, what you can do for immunity. Let's go to our presentation again. So we have learned about Ayurveda, yoga, asana, importance of asana, pranayam in our practice. These are some of the benefits of asana, Bhastrika, Kapalbhati, pranayam, Anulom Vilom pranayam, Brahmari pranayam. Now coming to the conclusion. So in order to improve the immunity, following things need to be followed in our day-to-day life, in our daily regime. First of all, let's correct our lifestyle, that is daily routine. Try to include abhyanga, exercise, brahme murte uttishte, like start right, waking up early and start your day with full of energy. Then go, try to include abhyanga, exercise in your daily schedule. Have proper diet, because diet is the nourishment for our body. As there is machine, we need some fluid also is needed, and the machine has to work. So both things, exercise and proper diet, both are really needed for our body mechanism to run smoothly. Then Rasayan are the nutritional or the preventive aspects. You can take guidance of your Ayurvedic doctor for having Rasayan. Chavanprash is Rasayan, Brahma Rasayan is one of the Rasayan, even Moravaya, that Avla Murabba, which we have, is again also Rasayan. There are various kinds of Rasayan. Whichever suitable for you, you should start having it daily, empty stomach. Even like simply black resins also act as Rasayan. Kharjur dates also are Rasayan, but that has to be decided what your body needs, and you should start such having such Rasayan in your day-to-day regime. Again, one thing I want to add is Ayush Kadha. Now you must have known, everybody is knowing about it. So Ayush Kadha you can include in your diet for prevention, but maintain the proper proportion, know your Prakriti and then have it. Because so many are having a heat problem. If you are having Pitta Prakriti and if you heat the Kadha to overheat the kadha, or you if you the quantity you take is exceeded, by as the prescribed quantity, then you might get symptoms of heat. So know your prakriti and adjust the components of the kadha according to that, and then have it. So Ayurveda is very personal medicine. So knowing its your own prakriti and then practicing these things will really help you. It's very difficult for generalized things because everybody's body is different. So in Ayurveda, we can't explain everything generalized. Same way, some asan are practiced by can be practiced by everyone, like Pavan Muktasan. But some asana are needed to be practiced under guidance or according to your health issues. So have proper guidance for asana pranayam, but include them in your daily routine. You can include Surya Namaskar. Those are the safest one which you can do on your own, and are really helpful to build up the immunity. Pranayam practices are must for every day. Practicing yoga in early morning hours helps a lot. But if you are not getting time early morning, you can practice them by evening, like 6, 7 around sunset, not late night, like if after 8 or something, because we need to calm our body as the day ends. So don't do any exercise in late hours, do it by sunrise or by sunset. Then, last but not the least, for mental health, start thinking positive. Though the situation in the surrounding is bad or it was worst some days ago, start thinking positive. There is very less percentage of people who have succumbed to the disease. With positive attitude and with positive health measures, we are surely able to overcome the disease. It's our immunity that helps us to overcome the disease. So believe in your immunity, start working on your immunity, and have a healthy life ahead. Don't be under the stress of such things. Don't follow negative things. Don't listen to the counts those are declared by media. Just have a positive approach towards this disease or whatever conditions in life come. Have a total positive approach. We can win any war with this positive approach, because our body is the greatest gift of God. We must take care of it, and it's very easy. It is not taking any cost to maintain our health, but it is costly to get treatment. It is painful to get treatment. So it is very essential to be healthy. So just follow the simple things that you have listened in this program. Now, in the end, let's pray together for the health of the of every person in the universe. That is universal prayer. Just sit straight, join your hands, gently close your eyes. I will be chanting Omkar 3 times, and then the universal prayer. You can chant along with me or you can just listen. Inhale deep. ॐ सर्वेत्र सुखिनः सन्तु, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखमाप्नुयात्. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Gently rub your palms together. Keep them on your eyes. Open eyes in darkness. Gently take your hands down. So, any questions from your side? I'm here to welcome all the questions. I will try to answer them. Please let me know if you have any, or if you have any personal queries. You have my contact numbers, or you can call me on the number, or you can post a query in the chat box, or your feedbacks as well around for the session. You can post them. Thank you so much for attending the session.